gang shit. That's all I'm on.
Of course we could keep it a secret. No one knows what happened to JFK still. And apparently, this has been outsourced to the private sector. That's why the government doesn't really know about it. So the question of whether we can keep it secret, obviously these things are flying around. Either we're flying them or somebody else is flying them, but they definitely exist.
The question is, like, why would we assume that it's a biological entity? It doesn't have any windows. It's this round thing that looks like a Tic Tac. If there is some sort of advanced propulsion system, some revolutionary way of moving through space and time that the U.S. government has developed, in some Black Ops program, that seems very likely impossible. That seems more likely than aliens visiting us. But there's more than one incident.
We
And
love
there's
to
a
go to
lot
the
of these
zoo.
things. And the possibility of alien life in the universe, although we've never experienced it, seems rational. It seems very...
They're here to safeguard the Earth from us. And apparently, whenever we start fucking around or some crazy shit happens, they get kind of pissed off about that. There's a great thread on 4chan with maybe some conspiratorial type posting, but it's a fantastic read. And a lot of it lines up with legacy information or theories about aliens.
Very rational. And if you were going to study an emerging civilization that is both primitive and warlike and yet insanely technologically advanced to the point where they have nuclear weapons, they can transmit video through the sky, they have propaganda, they have tracking of their citizens. Like, that's us. That's us right now. And while we are these territorial primal beings with fucking nuclear weapons, this would be a good time to start exposing yourself.
Yes.
And to stop this nonsense.
Insanity.
Yeah, and look, the reason why we named the rooms at our club Fat Man and Little Boy is because in UFO lore, that's when they started showing up. After the detonation of the atomic bombs in Japan, that's when the UFO sightings ramped up.
And they ramped up mostly in the U.S., right?
Yes.
So that's interesting because the U.S. was the nuclear power. So.
And we were the one who was doing a lot of fucking testing.
Yeah.
And also we have all these military bases. Who the fuck has more military bases than us?
No one.
Who has more nuclear weapons pointed at other people than us? We have them all over the place. And there's all these multiple sightings and eyewitness accounts of like very credible people who say these things have hovered over military bases.
It'd be pretty cool if these aliens were benevolent overlords. And they were like, hey, my children.
Yeah. Or maybe even so advanced intellectually that the concept of an overlord is preposterous. And they're just biological management. There's just the gardeners tending to make sure the weeds don't get out of hand and just like let this process continue to play itself out. Because this process of technological innovation it's the everything that humans do.
Yeah.
It's what we do at the pinnacle of our creation is we make better technology.
Well, I always wonder about fractals and whether or not, like, this idea of this being a simulation, this being, like we are kind of replicating, we are creating machines and doing our best to create them in our own image, right?
Yes.
And that's interesting. That's because
If we're not already in the Matrix, we're creating it right now with these stupid VR headsets. Everybody's about to be sitting in their basement, flying through space or whatever, walking up somebody's butthole. I don't know.
the mythologies that we subscribe to are the idea that this God that we pray to made us in his image. Right. And we're doing the same thing now with robots and computers. And that's an interesting thing that we seem to have this sort of paradigm, this idea that that's the scaffolding for the way we think, right? And to what end? And why are we doing that?
Maybe it's the creation
has it
of
already
a new
happened?
life form.
But has it already happened? Are we the result of that impulse that happened a long time ago?
I think we are the shit-throwing chimps that are going to become the nuclear physicists.
That's what
we are the shit-throwing chimps from 2001 that become Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think this thing that we become is integrated with technology. It's probably some sort of a high.
Nobody wins in a shit throwing fight. Everybody just gets covered in shit, you know? So that's just not a... Don't live your life as a shit thrower. Grow up. Don't breathe through your mouth. That'll fuck your face up and your life up. And don't throw shit at people. Just rude.
Hybrid. It's some sort of a cyborg.
That's wild.
Because I think we're already like on the verge of merging. You know, all this talk of like Neuralink and all these various things. We watched this video the other day of this guy who was Googling questions and getting answers in his head with his headpiece on. Have you seen that thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Incredible. Right? So how long before that is
I haven't
like
seen
that's
that.
Pong?
I know. But that's...
And then you have the Unreal 4 engine in 2023 that looks like a movie.
No.
Like how long before that technology gets to the point where it's just supremely advanced and we literally are like gods?
But my question really is also the idea that that's engineering, right? That's a tool.
It's innovation.
But there's engineering. So there are two aspects to it. One is getting information faster and stuff, which doesn't get you closer to truth, but it gets you information faster. There are endless facts. But more importantly, I always wonder, like, why we are given this. I really believe that human potential is pretty much infinite. Whatever you can imagine and beyond, we can do. And we are doing. We seem to be doing this. Like, think about how crazy that is. I can wear a headset and I can do.
What is 45,689 divided by 67?
Sure.
He silently asks the computer and then hears the answer through vibrations transmitted through his skull and into his inner ear.
6, 8, 1.9, 2, 5.
Exactly right.
One more. What's the largest city in Bulgaria, and what is the population?
The screen shows how long it takes the computer to read the words that he's saying to himself.
Sofia, 1.21 million.
That is correct. You just Googled that.
I did.
You could be an expert in any subject. You have the entire internet in your head.
That's the idea.
Wow. That is insane.
Do things with my mind and look up the answer.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's magic. It's crazier than magic. But there's a way to measure that and quantify that and replicate that. So it's not magic. I can do it and I can tell you exactly how I get there, which is even crazier. So what is that leading us to? It is nudging us closer. It's like I think it's very significant that we're getting a better understanding of what it's like to be someone else.
Yeah.
We are. It's really hard to say that a Yanomamo Indian or whoever it might be thinks about things differently than I do when I know so much about how all these human beings, like someone in Iran, someone in Jordan, laughs and cries and bleeds at the same thing I do. It's being prejudiced based on what that person looks like over there is becoming harder and harder to justify. Where it was before we knew about that, we were like, well, those people over there are quote unquote savages, or they're this, that, and the other thing. And I do think that we are getting a better understanding of what it's like to be each other and being nudged in the same direction. I'm not saying we don't become tribal.
I think that's true too.
But why? And it's interesting to think about where that's leading us to what understanding, and then when we have that understanding, what are we going to do about that?
Right, and are we going to pull it together? And are the aliens here to make sure that we don't fuck it up?
Yeah.
That's the beautiful idea. The terrible idea is that it's all us. And then it's all a big ruse, and it's all just drones that we're doing because we don't want China and Russia to know about it. But we have insane propulsion systems that operate on gravity. And
yeah, I think it is us.
But
I hate to tell you.
It seems like both. It seems like us, and it also seems like there's some shit that we just don't understand. And I don't know if those people are telling the truth. Because if the people that are telling the truth that there's biological entities, and this is what Jackie Gleason said that Nixon told him, and Nixon took him on they were drinking. You know that famous story?
No.
Who knows if it's true? It's a legend. But the legend is that Jackie Gleason and Nixon were drinking. and that Nixon said, "You want to see some fucking aliens?" And they get on Air Force One and they fly to some Air Force base, and they go to a place where they have a crashed UFO and they have biological beings that are in freezers. And Jackie Gleason sees this. And Jackie Gleason, after that, has a house built in upstate New York that looks like a UFO. He became obsessed with UFOs after it. There was a house, it was actually for sale at one point in time. Yeah, so he has this house that he had shaped like a UFO. And this is like, who knows if this is a true story?
Yeah.
Right? Because it's like, it was kind of sort of disputed. His ex-wife told the story or something like that. I forget.
I think that kind of thing is actually impossible to keep secret.
No, I don't think so.
Really?
No, I don't
you
think
think
so at all.
generational, like
Yeah.
generations of government bureaucrats can keep something a secret?
Sure,
I don't
they
think so.
tell the people at the very highest level know about it. It's very few people. It's all very compartmentalized.
they're always-
they monitor everyone's phone calls, everyone's emails, everything everyone
Impossible.
does.
Impossible.
At a top secret clearance level,
No way. Impossible.
I don't think you're right.
Totally
You're
impossible.
definitely not right.
I think it's impossible.
Listen, man, they can keep secrets.
When?
People
Which
at high
ones?
levels of military can keep secrets.
Yeah, but they're
People
always
that-
rotating out. They're retiring. They're dying.
Yeah, they probably want.
They have systems of control. Sean Ryan show, these whistleblowers talk about the pressures exerted on them. One guy, his father wouldn't talk to him anymore. His father died 6 months after this, or something crazy like that. He died emaciated like radiation poisoning, like what the Russians do. Whether that's from exposure to what they saw or whether that's purposeful, I'm not sure. But he also got shoved out the fucking door on a fucking drop. He was a paratrooper. He's getting ready for a night jump, low altitude night jump. So your chute gets pulled by the cord when you jump out the door, and he went out the door all fucked up, and his chute like deployed on him, so it improperly deployed and crashed into the ground and almost died.
On a fucking Hillary Clinton and a lot of those dudes.
Hey, listen, dude. This is not the.
That's a
this is not
verb.
Conspiracy Social Club.
It
This
might
is
as
the
well
Joe
be.
Rogan experience.
I am not willing to relinquish the idea that they could keep that secret.
Well, that's because it's
I think
fun to
it's,
believe in.
Yeah, but it's not just fun to believe in. It is possible. It's a physically possible thing to do, especially if you have the right people and they're indoctrinated in the right way with top secret clearance. And by the way, it's not like these people don't tell their friends. And it's not like there's a bunch of stories floating around, because there
Right.
are. There's a shitload of stories
That's what I'm
floating
saying.
around.
But why would you like? I would never keep that a secret. I'd be like,
You introduce disinformation along with the information that people are trying to tell you, and by doing so you discredit. You introduce fake shit and then disprove it clearly, so that the general population stops paying attention, and you turn the whole ecosystem into a bunch of wingnuts. You could have someone on the steps of the Capitol detailing all the shit that they have, and no one would believe them prior to this becoming somewhat legitimized. So this is like why this is still a debate and why people are still mystified by it. I mean, I believe that 9/11 still has some crazy shit that is not valid and true, you know. So the idea that the government can't keep this secret is horseshit.
hey,
Well,
hey, you got
but here's
fucking
the thing.
aliens.
Here's the thing. When you have senators and congressmen who find out about this, and they find out that military contractors are the ones who have access to this stuff, because the back engineering program has to involve someone who has the capability of recreating this. So who would that be? That would be the people that make jets. If you got someone who's making you a fucking a stealth bomber, and you have a crashed UFO, those are the people that you want discussing like what kind of things you've recovered from a fucking alien crash, and can this be replicated?
No, here's the problem with your
I mean,
whole
don't
theory.
you know me, motherfucker? Because you don't
man,
know. You might be
this
wrong.
is your wrong. No,
No, no,
this is
don't say you're wrong,
this is
because
the
you don't
problem.
know that
This
I'm
is the
wrong.
problem with your theory. Ready?
Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry, and I love that you want to believe in this, and so do I. But here's the problem.
Okay.
There's no law. There's no written law that says I'm not allowed to talk about aliens. And I mean at the top levels of clearance, like the most secret level. There is no world where if I'm a government official and I take a bunch of pictures and I come.
There's another video. It's a new video that came out not that long ago. And it's from a farther away aspect ratio.
Before Congress, and I go, here's my evidence. I'm blowing the whistle. There are real aliens.
You don't think they would go after you for
I'd never go to jail.
violating your top secret clearance?
No, because it's not violating my top secret clearance.
But it would be.
Nope.
I don't
Because
think you're
I'd
right.
never go to jail for that. Because I'd be like, you're going to put me in jail for exposing what everybody wants to know? The whole world would be like, holy shit, you guys kept
But
this a
that's
secret?
assuming that you have access to that material to extract
There are enough
it
people who
from
would.
wherever the maybe not. Maybe those are the kind of people that wouldn't do that, Brian.
Listen,
You
my
fucking
friend.
communist. I don't like the way you think.
I'm shredding your UFO
No,
theories.
you're not.
Listen,
You think you are, but you're just using these establishment
You're allowed to
talking
talk
points.
about
You
UFOs and
sound
you
like
never
your
get in
dad.
trouble.
You sound like your dad.
Fucking boomer.
Come on, man. First,
You're
tell me
a
Andy Schultz
CIA
will beat me up.
stooge. You're a CIA
I'll call my dad
stooge,
right now.
And you're in here spreading propaganda to the faithful listeners.
Listen to
of
me.
this
Listen to me. There are no aliens, and if there are, we'd know about it because it's
If
not
there is, you're
against
going to
the
come
law.
back on dressed like a clown. Agreed?
Agreed.
That's my bets I'm making with everybody now.
I'll dress
If they
up
lose,
like
you
a
gotta dress
clown.
like a clown.
I'll do it. No. I'm sorry, sir. I'm going to hold that character for 3 months. Well, I did Joker, and I worked with Joaquin Phoenix.
Same thing.
I was in the room with him for 5 days, and when he came, I think to said he was 100 and when he was walking around, he was 180 pounds or something, and I think Todd Phillips said something like, "I think the character should be kind of skinny." Just kind of said it, casually, like I think. And Joaquin, I think, showed up at 124 pounds, and then they were like, "Let's just give you a." This guy's got inhuman discipline. They go, "Let's give you a nutritionist and everything else." And he said, No, it's okay. He just ate an apple and smoked cigarettes. And when we were on set, he never looked at you. He never looked at you. And at one point, I went like this. I had a scene. If you blink, I'm out of it. But I had a bunch of lines that didn't make it. But I go like this. I go, "What'd you do? Take a gun and blow your head off?" And I mimicked it, and I put it in my mouth. I'm like, "Poof," like that. And when I did that, I fell back. I did that twice. On the second time, he fell straight back. He fell straight back and landed like he would just improvise and do crazy shit where you didn't know if he was going to even hurt himself. Remember when he punches the clock?
Mm-hmm.
That's not in the script. He just punched that clock off the wall, and Todd thought he broke his hand. That was not on the script. When I saw the bus scene where he can't stop laughing.
Mm-hmm.
I saw them shooting that when I got to set.
Damn, I can't find that video right now, but I have seen from the overpass, from one of the highways. It's blurry, but you can see a cylindrical object that looks like it has no wings ripping and then blowing up the side of the Pentagon where all the I think it was $2 trillion were missing. And that missile hit the exact spot where those records that would track where the that money went. So after that was hit, it was just gone for good.
I swear to God, I saw him walking, and I knew he was going to win an Oscar. It was that good. And I looked at Todd and I go, "Holy shit!" He goes, "You have no idea, dude." It was like when I saw The Fighter, Christian Bale in The Fighter. Remember that opening scene? I went, "Oh, you're going to win an Oscar in this." I don't know. You could see it. You're a crack addict, and you're an ex-boxer.
Mm-hmm.
You see one frame, and you go, "Well, this is something different is happening here." It was the same thing with him. But I watched him for, I think it was 4 or 5 days. I was there, and I've never seen somebody be able to hold that concentration and that kind of character for that long.
Wow.
I was like, I could never do that. I don't want to do that. That's not fun to be around.
That was a spooky movie because I was like, this is like too close to reality.
Masterpiece, bro.
And then right after that, you have the BLM riots and the COVID riots and all that stuff happened afterwards.
I know. Have you met Todd Phillips,
No.
who writes and directs those movies?
No.
You need to meet him.
I'd love to meet
He's
him.
one of my favorite people in
I
the
love
world.
The Hangover.
Oh, he's such a special dude. You should have him on the podcast. I think you'd love him, man. He grew up like in a 1-bedroom apartment with his mom in New York. And I think he's just a fucking genius. He gave me notes on a script I wrote once, and I was like, "Oh, that's why you're a genius."
Isn't it funny that we like people better if they grew up in a 1-bedroom
know.
apartment with their mom?
With chaos.
I feel like he grew up in a mansion in Park City, Utah, just overlooking the slopes.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
I'm not suicidal. I would never kill myself.